As I said at the outset this morning, there's a fair bit happening around oil and gas today. On the gas side, extraordinary press release has been put out by Energy Minister Peter Collier overnight. He advises that Apache Corporation had reported a temporary interruption to gas production from its Varanus Island gas processing hub as a result of Tropical Cyclone Carlos. Now, what he says is that it stopped at 12:30am on Wednesday, February 23. So that was for all of yesterday. However, at this stage, he says, household consumers are not expected to be directly impacted. Then he says natural gas supply is expected to return to normal within 7 days, so maybe without a week of supplies from Varanus Island. He says residents are asked to take voluntary measures to reduce electricity and natural gas use, especially between the hours of 6am and 10pm. Well, if household consumers are not expected to be directly impacted, why are they being asked to hold back on it? We've asked Peter Collier to come onto the program to talk to us about this. He says he's in a parliamentary committee meeting at the moment. We also are chasing Apache to find out what's going on, but it appears that maybe there's something going on here that doesn't meet the eye. On the petrol side, of course, oil prices, international oil prices, the crude price has hit US $100 a barrel for the first time since 2008, since the GFC. This is because of the problems in the Middle East, in particular the problems in Libya. Libya is one of the great suppliers into the international community, and it's pushing up petrol prices here in Western Australia. Stephen Moir is the Chief Executive Officer of the Motor Trades Association. He joins us. G'day, Stephen.
Good morning, Paul.
What's the outlook for petrol, do you think?
Look, unfortunately, Paul, because of this uncertainty, and I think this could be going for some time, the news is bad, and that is that we're going to continue to see high prices. This morning the prices are bouncing around that 140 mark for unleaded, about 145 for diesel, and I don't think there's any short-term relief. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it go anywhere up to another 20 cents higher.
The rule of thumb is something along the lines of for every dollar the crude price goes up, it goes up a cent at the pump?
Yeah, that would be about right. It'd be about right. The $100 a barrel mark is quite extraordinary, but not surprising given the uncertainty that's occurring in the Middle East right now.
So you're talking here about the possibility of unleaded at the bottom of the cycle at $1.60?
Yep, I wouldn't be surprised.
It's actually having an effect on the stock market today. It's depressed the stock market because they see that, I think they all agree with your outlook, is that this may be with us for some time.
Well, I think it will be, and that's just the nature of the politics that are occurring in the Middle East right now. There's very little that anyone can do about that. It's one of the reasons that I think we really need to ramp up the review of alternate sources. We're now seeing a really strong emergence of electric vehicles coming on. We would dearly love both the federal and state governments to revisit their policies on LPG, for instance. We've gone from 13,000 approximately conversions a year back in 2008 down to about 1,200 in 2010.
You mean the excise that's going to come on LPG next year?
The subsidies that used to be paid. Bearing in mind the state government used to put a $1,000 subsidy into conversions, and the federal government used to put $2,000. State government removed that, and the federal government's reducing it by $250 per year.
Yeah. Yeah, which has made it pretty hard, of course, for that conversion industry.
Correct. And if we look at, for instance, the cash for clunkers concept that came out through the last federal election was flawed fundamentally, and they would have been better off to put that into LPG conversions to help people. You would have had much stronger effect on greenhouse gases, and you would have kept an industry going along well.
What about a carbon price that's coming down the tube?
Well, that's the worry. That's just going to put more upward pressure.
Apparently, Julia Gillard has explained this morning why she is so keen to put a price on carbon. I haven't heard this. You might want to hear this as well, Stephen. I think we've got it there. We can hear this.
First and foremost, I'm determined to do it because climate change is real. We have never before lived with so many people on the planet emitting so much carbon pollution. What that means is that carbon pollution is changing our climate. 2010 was one of the 2 hottest years in recorded history. So our climate is changing and we need to produce to reduce carbon pollution. Second, I'm determined to price carbon because history teaches us that the countries and that the economies who prosper at times of historic change are those who get in and shape and manage the change. If we look at the Industrial Revolution, the countries that prospered were the countries that got in on the change and didn't linger. If we look at the Information Technology Revolution, the reason Bill Gates is such a rich man today is he got in on the change. Bill Gates did not sit there saying, I think I'll leave it 10 or 15 years and see whether or not this computing thing catches on. Bill Gates understood the need to be in on the change. The same is true now. This is the time to be pricing carbon and dealing with the change to a clean energy future. Around the world, economies are changing and we simply cannot afford to be left behind. To be left behind means that we will lose jobs and lose prosperity in the long term. I do not believe that Australia needs to lead the world on climate change, but I also don't believe that we can afford to be left behind. That's why the time is right and the time is now. If we do risk being left behind, it will cost us jobs.
Was the Prime Minister just a few minutes ago. Well, Stephen, is the idea here that adding a carbon price to the price of fuel will just stop people using so much?
No, it's ridiculous. And you know, I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound cynical, but you know, if you really want to do something about climate change, look at investing in new technologies. Why cut out all the greener car rebates that were there? I mean, as a result of the Queensland flood, she has removed a lot of those environmental initiatives that were in there, which affected the automotive industry and would have brought about significant change. A carbon price setting is not going to have a long-term effect on usage because people do, and if you look at Perth, for instance, as a marketplace, we are motor vehicle dependent. We have to have our motor vehicles, and to just stump the price on that again doesn't provide any assistance at all.
When the carbon price was initially being debated, there was some discussion that petrol would be excluded, but it now appears that it's well and truly in the
well and truly on the agenda. You know, and again, why look at putting taxes on LPG and that type of thing when that's the technology that can really have a substantial benefit to the environment?
Yep, people get it every which way. They certainly do. Yeah. All right, Stephen, great to talk to you again. Thanks a lot.
Good on you. Cheers.
Stephen Moir, Chief Executive Officer of the Motor Trades Association of WA, and his outlook is that get ready for LPG prices at $1.60. And of course, if the unrest in the Middle East keeps going on, it's going to collide with whatever comes out of the carbon tax, and who knows what that's going to add to the price at the pump. 9221 882. If you want to have your say about that today, it's 5 to 9.